So at this stage now, we've got all the inside of the car and the outside of the actual car's body that we're going to be welding up, all prepped and all ready. So we're finished off. If I show you inside, we've cleaned up all the inside lips. We've panel beat all the last bits and pieces up, panel beat all the bottom of there up, got all the sides cleaned, ready so that we can spot weld the new rear panel back in it. So I'm going to clean up the edges around the rear panel now so that that's all clean, and that'll get good earth when we're welding it. We're going to put a few spotlight holes in the panel ready for along the bottom edge where it meets the actual slam panel along there. Then it's pretty much ready for welding in, and as soon as I've done that, and I'll take you guys through that in a second, then we'll get straight on to welding up that panel, and fingers crossed everything fits up nice. Everything fit up nice on the previous fit, so when this now goes back together and now the last little bits of panel beating and little odds and ends have been sorted out, it should be nice and clean. Once it's had a nice brush sealer, you know, there'll be basically no visible signs of the damage. Everything will be nice and clean, everything will be nice and neat, everything will gap right. So we've got now the new back end all welded up, and as you've seen in the clip at the start, I've been around now and I've ground all the welds up and cleaned all the welds up so everything's nice. So what we need to do now is get all this all prepared for getting a panel sealer on, and also where we've done a little bit of panel beating, etc., we just need to put a tiny little bit of filler just to smooth out some of the panel beating marks. But now everything's back in and everything's straight. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of the cleanup on this back end. We'll then take a look at the panel sealer. Some of it will be brush sealer, some of it will be spray sealer, depending on the area and depending on what it needs and what it warrants as far as the car goes. So we can make sure that everything's nice and watertight, everything's nice and sealed, everything's nice and clean, and then we'll put some primer on this back end, get it prepped up, blow in this back end and make it all look nice and tidy before we start the rebuild. So what I'm trying to do here is just put a little bit of tape around the outside of the panel that is the old panel work on the car, so that we can apply a tiny little bit of filler just over where these weld marks are, which will just help cover up the panel beating marks where we've panel beat these panels back together and just neaten everything up. Now it's not a stage that's necessarily needed because obviously this is going to have a spray sealer over it, so you don't really need to do it, but I just like to make sure that it's just that extra bit right. Now I've got two filler spreaders here. I've got one that's broken in half for these tiny little detailed areas, and then I've got a normal size spreader for doing the large bit along the side. Also, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to all our channel members, including Stuart and Matt, who have just joined this last month. It's nice to have you guys join along with us. Matt is a customer of ours, and Stuart has been in for a few training days and has booked in for a couple of training days a month with us, and he's a really nice chap. So I'd just like to say thank you for you two for joining and supporting the channel on the channel membership page. So we're a little bit further along in the process now, as you'll have seen from all the video clips. Now the back end's all been primed. We've given it all a rub down. We've prepped everything up. So the next job's to get it masked up. So I've just popped some paper in the holes in the corner to stop anything blowing into the car. I've back tape off this hole here because this hole will go straight through to the boot, and obviously we don't want any overspray going inside the car. And then bar that, now all we're going to do is do a little mask. So I'm going to come use the panel joint there to lose it, and then just put a little bit of soft foam around this very edge around the light hole just to keep it nice, and then just go just under the quarter panel along there, which when it's done then should give us a nice clean painted edge. So I'm going to mask it all out first, and then the sealer gun should be here later on this afternoon. Once the sealer gun comes, we'll put the spray sealer down the seams on the car, and then pretty much we're ready for paint and then a rebuild.